Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. He's Hacker.
Talk about a fried egg. I lasted about 5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Very good. Wednesday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us on a night where we will see Game 3 of the NBA Finals. Can Dallas make this a series? Well, we're going to find out tonight, because if they don't win tonight, this series is over, as, of course, no one's ever come back from 3-0 down. That's what the Boston Celtics are looking to go up tonight, as they've already won the first two there in Boston. It's also a day that ended the Jaguar offseason program. Minicamp wrapped up today, and that's it. They now come back on, I believe, July the 23rd, and we start training camp and the 2024 NFL season. So there is a ton to do. We are glad you are with us, and we are absolutely loaded here on Hacker After Dark. Coming up in less than 10 minutes after practice today, I had the conversation, or a chance to have a conversation with Jaguar wide receiver Elijah Cooks. He's a fun guy to talk to. He made the roster literally like the number 53 guy last year, remember? I mean, it came down to the very end. He made the roster as an undrafted free agent. Got some playing time against Tampa last year, 3 grabs for 38 yards. Elijah Cooks coming into year 2 in a very crowded wide receiver room. I had the chance to talk with Elijah after today's practice. We'll bring you that conversation coming up in just a moment. Dave Campo stops by tonight to review the Jaguar offseason now that it is officially in the books. And our AFC North preview continues. We've already been to Cincinnati. We've already been to Cleveland. Tonight, we'll go to the Steel City. We'll go to Pittsburgh. Ray Fittipaldo of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. He's our guy when it comes to the Steelers. We will review the Pittsburgh offseason, talk Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, and more with Ray Fittipaldo of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette later on in the 9 o'clock hour. We're with you till 10. We're glad you're with us. Hacker After Dark. Every night here on HAD, we give you a big deal of the night. And Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal? What is the big deal?
No big deal. It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
All right, so the offseason is over. Free agency. The draft, rookie minicamp, off-season voluntary workouts, OTAs, and now veteran minicamp are all in the rear-view mirror. It went quick, didn't it? You know, sometimes we just say that, but it kind of dragged on. To me, this did not drag. To think that the Jaguars lost to Tennessee over 5 months ago, it doesn't seem like that long. Because there was a lot going on. If you take in stock everything that transpired with this football team, maybe that's why it seemed like it blew right on by. All the changes in coaching, brand new defensive coordinator, basically a brand new defensive staff, how active they were in free agency, the draft class, the Josh Allen contract extension, which, by the way, I don't believe will be the last one this offseason. I think Trevor gets done before training camp. I also think Tyson Campbell potentially gets done before training camp. We'll see what happens there. A lot of rumblings about that. But when you take the offseason as a whole, and I've talked about this many times over the last 4 or 5 months, see, the goal of any football team is to get better. You didn't win the Super Bowl last year because you weren't good enough. And in the Jaguars' case, not only did you not win the Super Bowl, You did not win the division. You did not make the playoffs. Translation, you had to get better. You needed to improve your roster from the team that walked off the field in Nashville on January 7th, ending what was the biggest late season collapse in franchise history, to where we are now on the 12th day of June as the offseason program came to an end. You needed to get better over these last 5+ months. I think the Jaguars accomplished that. Now, that might be relative, because I think every team in the AFC South, you could argue, is better. Is Houston better than where they were when they ended the year losing in the playoffs to Baltimore? Yeah. Stephon Diggs, Joe Mixon, Danielle Hunter, yeah, they're better on paper. Is Indianapolis better than they were when their season ended in Week 18 when they lost to Houston on that Saturday night? Probably. Just because Anthony Richardson is back. No offense to our guy Gardner Minshew. Is Tennessee better from that team that beat Jacksonville on January 7th? Of course. I mean, my goodness, Tennessee with Jarius Sneed, Calvin Ridley, Tony Pollard, Lloyd Cushenberry, right? Kenneth Murray, Chidobe Awuzie. Tennessee spent a ton of money on free agents. Hey, good for them. They had the money to spend, and they spent it. So I believe every team in the AFC South has gotten better. You know, that's the interesting thing. And it's so funny to me. You know, we're doing our division previews, right? Like, we're on the AFC North this week. We've already been to the AFC East and the NFC East. And we will do one division a week leading up 5 weeks from now, 6 weeks from now, to the Jaguars report to training camp. But, man, last year, so many people just downplayed the AFC South, how terrible it was. Worst division in football. Most unintriguing division in football. Boring. Jacksonville and everybody else. Well, it turned out to be far from that. Houston and Indianapolis were darn good. Much better than people anticipated. And now, as you rank the divisions coming into 2024, I think the AFC South is probably second or third. They're not first. We're in the first division this week. To me, the AFC North is the best division in football. When you have Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow and Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson, Steelers, Browns, Bengals, Ravens, that's the best division in football. And I'm not really sure if it's close. Now, I didn't buy this a couple of weeks ago, but as I've been thinking more about it, the NFC North is pretty good as well. With Detroit, with Green Bay. We'll see about Caleb Williams in Chicago. We'll see about J.J. McCarthy in Minnesota. Keep in mind, Jacksonville does play all 4 of the NFC North teams. But to me, those are the only 2 divisions, top to bottom, 1 to 4, that have an argument to be better than the AFC South. The AFC South's better 1 to 4 than the AFC East. In large part because New England's terrible. The AFC South, to me, is better than the AFC West. In large part because Denver is terrible. And in the NFC East, the Giants and the Commanders aren't going to be very good. The NFC South, yuck. In the NFC West, we'll see. Arizona doesn't look very good on paper. But right now, if I were to tell you Tennessee wins the South, would that shock you? Indianapolis wins the South, would that shock you? And obviously it shouldn't if you say Jacksonville or Houston. Anybody, any team can win this division. You know, you hate to give credit to other teams in the division, but you got to kind of give credit to the other 3 teams, right? 12 months ago, the AFC South was thought to be Jacksonville's division for at least a couple of years. Well, Houston proved that theory to be wrong in less than 1 calendar year. But give it up to Houston, give it up to Indy, give it up to Tennessee, and quite frankly, give it up to Jacksonville. Because all 4 teams in the AFC South, all can very easily win the division. It doesn't take a lot of things to happen. They have the talent to do so. All four can definitely make the playoffs. I don't know how many divisions you can say that about. The AFC South is going to be fun. And in fact, to me, out of this entire offseason that just ended today here in Jacksonville, I believe the Jaguars are better, but I also believe every team in the division is better. I believe the AFC South, from where the season ended in January to where we are now in the middle part of June, is the most improved division overall in the National Football League. And I think it is going to be a dogfight this year. Like I said, I believe any one of the four could win it. Right now on June 12th, I guess I'm going Houston. That is certainly subject to change before we get to the regular season. But you're going to have to come with your hard hat on and play some football if you want to win this division with an improved Titan team, a Colts team that was good last year, and they get their rookie quarterback, now second-year guy, and Anthony Richardson back. Houston's the favorite, and I believe Jacksonville is improved. Kudos to the AFC South. It's gone from the most boring division last year to one of, if not the most interesting divisions coming in to 2024. As we said, the Jaguars ended their offseason workouts today, last day of minicamp. Earlier today, I had the opportunity to catch up with Jaguar wide receiver Elijah Cooks at the Miller Electric Center. Here's that conversation on Hacker After Dark. All right, Jaguar minicamp and the Jaguar off-season program wrapping up out here at the Miller Electric Center. We got Jaguar wide receiver Elijah Cooks with us. Elijah, how was practice today?
It was a great day, a great way to finish camp. It was a hard day, but it's a great way to finish camp, working hard, going into the 5-week break, ready to, take a little off, but also put our work in.
Let's talk about minicamp first, the last 3 days. How valuable? A lot of the young guys are here, first- and second-year players such as yourself. What did you get out of these 3 days?
Honestly, it's just these 3 days are really a compete day and really just show what we can do. So us being able to go against the defense for an hour a day, that just makes us better, competing against iron sharpens iron every day. So us doing that, seeing other people work, watching the young receivers work, the young receivers, there's some stuff I take from the young receivers, there's some stuff that they take from us. So it's just everybody watching each other work just makes our game so much better. Off-season
program as a whole, 2 months here, last month on the field. What are you going to take away over this break to bring back with you to training camp?
Honestly, I just the way I worked out here and my speed, I'm just trying to get my speed up in this off-season. So that's all I'm really going to try to do. You feel me, work out with my boys and stuff, really.
What about you in general? Last year, an undrafted free agent, you make the team, right? I mean, a great moment. I remember talking to you that day you found out. What's life like for you now, 12 months later, coming into year number 2?
I would say I have a completely different mindset now. It's not about just making a team, which is, of course, I want to make the team, but I also want to contribute now. I'm in second-year guy. I'm an older guy now, so I want to come into this league and contribute to this team in any way, shape, or possible. So if that comes on special teams, offense, whatever they need me to do to help us win, that's what I want to do this year.
Drastically different wide receiver room. Devin Duvernay, Gabe Davis, Brian Thomas. What have you seen from some of the young guys?
Honestly, I see our receiver room, we're very close. We've only been together for 2 months, but you can see the bond we've grown over these 2 months has been very close. We are hanging out with each other more than ever, and we're just all of us are very likable guys. It's not hard to get along with any one person in this room.
And the way last year ended, you obviously were on the team last year. You experienced that collapse. Obviously, the fan base, that's all they've talked to us about for the last 5 months. You guys very much remember that. Is that motivation coming into this year?
Yeah, it's motivation, but every year we go in with the mentality that we want to win a Super Bowl. So that's the mentality that's going to be this year. That was the mentality last year. We didn't get it done last year, but this year we're going to come in with the same mentality that we want to. It's a Super Bowl run, a Super Bowl season.
Do you keep any tabs on the division? What Houston did, what Tennessee did, what Indy did?
It's hard not to see that because it's everywhere. But that don't mean nothing to us. Our team's our team. We believe that we're better than them. We can be better than them. We just got to see what happens with season play.
5 weeks off. What's the plan for Elijah Cooks?
I'm finna go back to California and work. Go back to some cold weather and work.
As we wrap up, what is the mindset? You take a couple of weeks to kind of decompress, but when does, all right, I'm going back to Jacksonville at the end of July, when do you start getting those juices flowing?
Oh, well, see, it's kind of the mindset. You leave right now knowing that you get 5 weeks off from this, but you leave knowing that you're going to put in the hard work that you need to put in to be great for training camp, because this is hard, but training camp's a whole different beast. So going these 5 weeks, you can't take lightly. You have to go in, work as hard as you were working out here so you can come back for training camp ready.
Final question. Next time you're out here, the fans will be lining up the Miller Electric Center. What's your message to Jaguar fans?
Oh, come out, support us. It's going to be a great year. We're going to turn up Miller Electric Center all training camp. It's going to be a party in them end zones. I promise you guys.
Elijah, have a great summer. We'll see you in July.
See you soon. Thank you so much.
Thanks. There you go. Elijah Cooks here with us on Hacker After Dark. Thank you to the Jaguars PR staff for hooking us up with that. And thank you to the Jaguars PR staff really for the last 2 months. Amanda, Dylan, Jacob, John, all the guys and gals down there. We really appreciate it. We've talked to a number of Jaguar players on the station and certainly here on Hacker After Dark, so we really appreciate that. And much more in training camp. It'll be every day. We'll be down there every single day. But that wide receiver room is loaded. Elijah Cooks is one of the guys to look at with Tim Jones. Where do they stand in the room? You know about Duvernay, Parker Washington, Christian Kirk, Brian Thomas, Gabe Davis. There's going to be some good players competing at the tail end of that wide receiver room. Jaguar Talk continues. Dave Campo, we review the offseason now that it's officially come to an end. We'll also continue our AFC North preview in the 9 o'clock hour as we head to Pittsburgh and talk with Ray Fittipaldo of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette previewing the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's a Wednesday night on Hacker After Dark with Dylan Denmark, the Hacker Ryan Green with you. Jacksonville, we're glad you're with us. It's 1010XL, and it's 92.5 FM.
If it's just a game,
It was all that Dan Marino's fault. Everyone knows that.
why can't we get over it?
If he had held the ball laces out like you're supposed to, Ray would never have missed that kick.
1010XL.
I don't want to talk about it.
Hey, Hicken here. I couldn't be any happier than to join the George Moore Chevrolet family. When I say family, I mean it. Visit their beautiful showroom today off Atlantic Boulevard. Find out exactly what I'm talking about. No pressure, just friendly help. And whether you want a car, a truck, SUV, electric, pre-owned, you name it, George Moore Chevrolet has it. And if you can't make it over to Atlantic Boulevard, no problem. MooreChevy.com is easy to navigate as any site you will try. It's never been more easy to use. George Moore Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
I can't believe tax season is here already. Look at all this info I have to enter.
Phil's small accounting firm is growing in numbers.
Why didn't I take that typing class in high school?
A data entry specialist could really help him in a crunch.
I got blisters on my fingers.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey sports fans, this is Hayes Carlyon from MyBookie. The NBA playoffs are heating up and it's the perfect time to elevate your game with MyBookie. With MyBookie, you can bet from anywhere, anytime, so you never miss a shot to cash in on a play. You can even live stream and bet on the games right from the sportsbook, giving you everything you'll need to decide, cash out or let it ride. MyBookie really makes it easy to get paid with tons of boosted props and slam dunk parlays, and new boosts are now posted on the daily. It's more than just a sportsbook. Buzzer beaters, underdog upsets, and a community to share in all of the sweats. Give yourself a head start today and play with house money using promo code 1010XL when you make your first deposit. That's promo code 1010XL to claim a limited time bonus when you sign up and make your first deposit. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie. And don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
Tee it up with 1010XL.
Oh, yes. Kick in birdie.
Coverage of the U.S. Open on 1010XL is presented by Vaughn Motor Group.
Prosser here. As you may or may not know by now, I did the research and decided to go with Jack's Concrete Coatings for my garage floor. OMG, as the kids would say. I can't begin to tell you how good it looks, how happy we are. We brag on it anytime someone walks in the garage. They had the job finished in one day with a lifetime warranty. That's right. As the certified Pintech dealer for North Florida, the only company offering pure polyurea, I can't wait to do my patio deck next. Call 862-2000. That's the number, 862-2000, or jacksconcretecoatings.com.
AC Hotline, how can I help?
Help! Our AC isn't working, and my husband's pouring ice cubes down his pants.
Wow, okay, well, we can help with the AC issue.
Please. I'm afraid he's going to damage something.
Okay, I'm going to connect you with the Duck.
The doc?
No, the Duck. Duck Air Conditioning. Jacksonville area's AC experts.
Okay, tell them to hurry.
Beat the Florida heat with Duck Air Conditioning. Service, repairs, new installations, commercial or residential. Trust the Duck. DuckDuckAC.com.
I'm Patrick Young, inviting you to the Florida SBDC's Network Small Business Success Summit, August 19th and 20th at the Sawgrass Marriott in Ponte Vedra. If you're ready to learn, network, and be inspired, I'll be delivering a keynote message you won't want to miss. Secure your spot today by registering at floridasbdc.org. Hey, there's no time to waste. Right now is the right time. I hope to see you at the Small Business Success Summit in August.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, Prime Men's Medical Center will get your sex life back in just one visit. Their painless, breakthrough medical treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Prime Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Prime Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments will restore your sex life regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. Plus, you'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients will have their testosterone checked free. Call 904-902-8222. 904-902-8222. To regain your sex life in just one visit, call now. 904-902-8222.
Time now for a medical recap. A health and wellness tip from Jaguars head team physician Dr. Kevin Kaplan.
Regular strength training is key to maintaining muscle mass. Like muscle building, you need to stress the muscle to maintain strength. This means lifting enough weight and doing enough reps to the point where it's too hard to do one more. Yoga and Pilates are also lower impact muscle building workouts that help maintain lean body mass and improve flexibility. Let's get moving, Jacksonville.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. My buddy Dave Campo, former head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. You get him every Monday here on Hacker After Dark during the year. We get the coach periodically during the off-season. Coach, glad you're with us, and the off-season's kind of dwindling down, man. Next month at training camp, I know a lot of people are getting very excited.
Yeah, this is the time of the year right here. Once the OTAs start, and as a matter of fact, they're almost over. So it's getting closer and closer to getting started. And this is a good time of the year because you get a good dose of it, and then you get a little time off, and then it's ready to roll.
Now, you and I haven't spoken on air since OTAs began. Obviously, I've seen you out there the last couple of weeks. But what have you learned, actually, for starters, from a head coaching perspective or a coaching perspective in general, what do you try to accomplish with OTAs, Coach? What is the basis for those?
Well, first of all, you get everybody together and get them started bonding with each other. And obviously, it's more than the 53, but it's your football team. So guys spending time together, whether it's in meetings or whether it's at lunch or whether they're going out maybe in the evenings a little bit, it's a bonding situation for your football team. So that's one of the things. The others, number one, you want to get your schemes in, whether it's offense or defense. And on defense, I go back to, when I was doing it, we got almost our whole package. And obviously there's tweaks during the season, but the main part of the package you put in. And what you're really trying to find out is who can handle what. Can they take it from the meeting room to the field? And that's a big part of it, because how you go about starting in training camp and all those things is you repeat a lot of stuff, but you can get a feel for the guys that are going to be out there, the smart guys, the guys that can, process and get it from that standpoint. And so that's number two. And then number three, part of that is moving guys around, getting them in different positions and really getting a feel for who can do what, as far as, can a corner play outside and play nickel? We had a great situation in Dallas where Darren Woodson could be a safety, which was a thinking position with all the different checks and all that. And then he could go to nickel, which is a separate operation altogether. They have some guys like that, and that's what they're trying to find out. So they've had 4 or 5 guys at nickel, and they've moved guys around. They've got some different guys in different positions at linebacker. So to me, those are the 3 main reasons for OTAs, and I think it's a good thing.
Dave Campo is our head coach here on Hacker After Dark, and he's with us here on 1010XL. All right, let's start on the defensive side of the ball. That's your bread and butter, and let's go to the secondary. A lot of talk about after Tyson Campbell and after Ronald Darby. Coach, there are 6 guys that have been drafted in the last 3 years. You got Eric Hallett, Christian Braswell, Monteric Brown, Greg Jr., and the 2 rookies this year, DeAndre Prince and, of course, Jarian Jones. Have any of those youngsters stood out to you, and what is your thought overall about the cornerback position right now?
Well, the guys, and again, when you're not in pads, you're really looking at athletic ability and guys, how quickly they process things. Are they, getting where they need to be the majority of the time? I'm not sure that the general fan could see that, but I feel like I can see, if they're playing cover 2, is the safety getting where he's supposed to get, and those kind of things. So I'm impressed. First of all, I'm impressed with Jarian Jones. I think he's a guy that really has some ability to do a number of different things. He's the thing that sticks out to me more than anything is his intensity at what he's trying to do. And they've had him outside, they've had him inside. I think the kid might push for a starting job outside. I'm not sure they might start the season with a veteran guy, but this guy has something to him. He's physical, he's fast, he's quick. So, he sticks out to me a little bit. I think all those young guys, even Monteric Brown has been out there a lot. He's got some experience. He's done really well in the SEC. He came in last year, and really, to be honest with you, he didn't hurt them a great deal. So I feel pretty good about that group as a whole, because there's a lot of young guys there that have a chance to progress. The other guy that stuck out to me is Braswell. Braswell's been playing a lot in the nickel, and he's got some ability. So again, for me to say, okay, this guy looks great, that guy looks great, they all look pretty good athletically, which is a good sign. It's going to be what you see in training camp, what they do in those preseason games to give you an idea who's going to be a starter. I don't think they have an idea who's going to be the starter right now.
The interesting thing at the safety position, they got 3 guys that we're talking about a lot, right? Darnell Savage, Andre Sisco, and Antonio Johnson. There's a lot of intrigue about Antonio Johnson. I mean, are we going to see a situation, Coach, in your opinion, where those 3 guys are on the field together an awful lot?
Well, if they decide that they want to use a big nickel, I can see Antonio Johnson or Savage playing the nickel position. What I mean by that is, if it's an early down and a team comes out with 3 wide receivers and you want to be a 4-2-5 defense, you don't want to have your Sam linebacker out there. You put your nickel in there. You may have a corner that is the guy on 3rd down where you're playing a little bit more man, where you're seeing a few more different route combinations, but you might want to have a guy in there that can play, a little bigger, stronger nickel. So to me, they could be in that situation of having all 3 guys out there. I don't know how much they're going to do that, but they have had Antonio Johnson. I haven't seen much of Savage. He hasn't been out there much. The older guys haven't done as much as the young guys because they're trying to find out about guys. And I could see Antonio's been out there a bit, and I can see him at nickel and at safety.
Couple of more for the head coach, Dave Campo, with us here on Hacker After Dark. Coach, the front seven of the defense, Foye Oluwakin got paid this offseason. It's a big year for Devin Lloyd, right? I mean, coming into year number 3, a former first-round pick. Ventrell Miller back from injury. We know about Chad Muma as well. Let's focus on the linebackers first. I guess my question to you is Devin Lloyd. That's maybe the biggest question mark at that position coming into the year.
Well, first of all, I see them being a lot more fluid to where they're going. And to me, that's a credit to the coaching staff. I asked one of the guys at that round table that they had yesterday with the assistant coaches. I waited till all the media guys were kind of gone, and I was just having an individual conversation. And I'm not going to say which coach it was, but I will say that I asked them, I said, look, is it your opinion that the communication and the overall continuity, the instincts a year ago based on what they were being taught was an issue? And I got a wink and a nod. So, in my opinion, this coaching staff, and when we talk about those guys in a minute, which I assume we're going to, the coaching staff, the one thing that sticks out to me more than anything else is their ability to teach. And to me, that is volumes. When we went to the NFL back in 1989, they didn't think we knew our butt from a hole in the ground coming from Miami. But I guarantee you that the group that we had there were good teachers, and that's how you develop, and that's how you make sure that guys are in the right gaps and their reactions are good. The guy that stuck out to me a little bit, I like Lloyd. He's a guy that's going to be in there all the time. The guy that stuck out to me in that position is Ventrell Miller. And the reason is I have no idea what he's going to do when the pads are on and all that stuff. But when the ball is snapped, he's headed in a direction immediately, which tells me he knows where he's going, and he goes there with good instincts.
I agree. Ventrell Miller, coming off the Achilles injury last year, he is one of the guys that has also stood out to me. And let's get into the defensive staff, right? They let go of Mike Caldwell and a number of his assistants. You got the opportunity to chat with some of those assistants yesterday at that Jaguar roundtable that they held. Ryan Nielsen wasn't there, but the other defensive guys were. Things you learned, things you took away in talking to these assistant coaches.
Everybody is on the same page, which is a big deal. They all talk the same language. And, some of it is coach speak. You're going to get that, when you do a press conference or do one of those things. But there was some questions asked yesterday that forced guys to really say what they really believe in. There's no question that this group is together. I'm excited because two of the guys, Nielsen, of course, who wasn't there, who I know a lot about as far as teaching and intensity and attention to detail. But Corey Robinson, the quarterback coach, and Nielsen, actually, Corey played at Central Connecticut where I played and coached, and so did Nielsen coach there. So I like them because of that, number one. But number two, they all have the same, we're going to be intense. The guys are going to know where they're going. They're going to communicate with each other. I'm really impressed with them. And to me, that's going to be the key to the whole thing. I think they've improved defensively, Hack, personnel-wise, especially with the rotation aspect of the front. But I think the coaching staff is going to make the biggest difference, in my opinion.
Final moments with the head coach, Dave Campo. Coach, offensively, I got to ask you, Brian Thomas, again, no pads, but you've seen a couple of practices now. I'm intrigued, Coach. He looks like he belongs out there, no question about it. What have you seen?
Smooth and fast.
Mm-hmm.
Now, those two things, first of all, you can't coach speed, and you really can't coach athletic ability. Those two things you can't do anything about. He has no problem catching the football. Now it's going to come down, and I'm hearing from everybody that the kid is smart and that he knows what he's going to know what he's doing. So that and those three things usually bode well. And I think that, from what I've seen out there, he's got the athletic ability. We'll see what happens when it gets going.
Yeah, wide receiver coach Chad Hall yesterday, who's been around for a little bit now in the league, said he's one of the smartest rookies he's ever had in Brian Thomas, which is great to hear. I'll tell you this, Coach, too. 17, Evan Ingram, that guy's all over the field out there. The practices I've been to, every time the ball was thrown at Evan Ingram's direction, something good is happening. I mean, I thought he was fantastic last year. Boy, I think he might be even better this year.
And he's got the attitude. The guy, first of all, how I feel about Ingram. We've talked about him, when he first got here, he had the knock on catching the football, not catching it, but a bunch of drops. He was over when the quarterbacks were warming up before practice while they're working on special teams. He was catching the ball from the quarterbacks. And that's what it takes. It's not just what you do, in the practice. It's what you do when people aren't looking at you, and he has that attitude. And the thing I like about him is that he when he had the years that he's had, he has confidence now that he can be a difference maker. And to me, that's a plus. And, I like him. I like what he does. He's a guy that can get open in a lot of situations, like a Kelsey, like some of those guys that are out there, that the tight ends that are also pass catchers.
I'll tell you another guy, Coach, and I'm trying not to drink the Kool-Aid 2 years in a row, but I don't know if it was a humbling season, whatever verbiage you want to use. Tank Bigsby looks like there's a fire under him out there. Now, I know that I've been critical of him. A lot of people have been critical of him. It was not a good rookie campaign, and he, quite frankly, did not get a lot of playing time because of some of the problems that he had. But Tank Bigsby is a guy that I can't wait to watch in the preseason because I think that he's heard all the noise this offseason, and he's out to prove a lot of people wrong.
Well, this year is going to be the telling thing for he and Strange, because I think both of those guys have good, ability. This is going to be a big one for him. It's kind of hard to tell a running back. I thought he looked great in training camp last year, but it's really the mentality. And I think you can work on fumbling. I think you can work on those things. I think you can work on having a guy understand that every single play you have to be totally focused. And I think drops come a lot of times, things that fumbles, things like that come when a guy's not totally focused in that particular moment. So I'm excited to see him. I'm excited to see Strange. I think both of those guys have got talent. Everybody's been kicking their butt for a year now because they really haven't done a whole lot. I really think second year and third year guys are the guys that kind of show up, the guys that are going to end up playing. So I think his message is going to be, let's make sure that we come back to training camp ready to roll, because what we do now is the real deal. And, I think he has enough veterans that understand, when you talk about hearing the noise, they've all heard the noise. And I think that it puts a little chip on your shoulder and don't let, now that you're going to be going to Cabo and all these other places, take away from your focus of what we have to do this year.
Coach, thank you. The next time you and I talk on air, we will be previewing training camp at the end of next month. Appreciate you, my friend.
Yes, sir. Love it. Nice talking with you, Hack, and have a great night.
Expect acceleration.
He's got him. Oh, there we go.
Sunday at Iowa Speedway, brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234. From the station with the most horsepower, 1010XL.
Awaken 180 weight loss, 65 plus pounds. I started on Awaken 180 on February 20th because I saw the results for Mike Dempsey and Matt Hayes, and I knew that I needed to do something with my life, with my weight loss. Things were getting out of control. I go to Awaken 180. I meet with my coach, Kate. We meet every week. I started the program, and bam, 3.5 months in, I'm down over 65 pounds. It has absolutely changed my life. If you need to lose weight, just like I did, Awaken 180 is the answer. It's the best weight loss program I've ever been on. Do yourself a favor. 844-346-1800 or check out their website, awaken180weightloss.com. If I can do it, you can do it. Awaken 180 Weight Loss works. Trust me, I have a little experience with this. It's Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Is your roof ready to weather the storm? Don't take chances with your home safety. Trust the experts at Universal Roof and Contract. Get peace of mind knowing your home is protected from the elements. They'll ensure your roof is in top shape to handle anything Mother Nature throws its way. Right now, get 10% off a re-roof or repairs, plus a free wind mitigation with a full roof replacement. Call 855-ROOF-HELP or click universalroof.com to schedule your free roof inspection. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
15,000 workers. I'm Brian Rose from Remedy Staffing. We survey 15,000 blue-collar workers each year to better understand what drives quality and dependability in our workforce. The survey shows when looking for a new job, the initial pay rate, job security, and safety while working are the most important factors for hourly workers. If you're an employer and would like to learn more about the voice of the blue-collar worker, please call us at 904-528-1933.
Nothing has a 10-year warranty except for a new AC unit from Vons. V-O-N-S. Vons Amazing 10. This is legit. A full 10-year warranty. It covers parts, labor, and refrigerant. That's an unmatched commitment they make to their customers, while others will charge extra for weekend and same-day emergencies. Not at Vons. No extra charges. Just great service when you need it, whether your unit needs to be repaired or replaced. Remember, if your AC won't turn on, just call Vons.
Start your Sunday off with a cup of Joe and some sports medicine intel. This is Joe C. inviting you to join me and Dr. George Bari for Breaking Bones every Sunday morning at 7:30. And if you miss an episode, just look for Breaking Bones wherever you listen to podcasts.
This is Hayes Carlion for QC Kinetics. Are you not able to enjoy this summer as much as you want because of joint pain? Well, give my friends at QC Kinetics a call at 904-274-5522 for a free consultation. They're serving the Jacksonville area with locations in Mandarin and Ponte Vedra Beach. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. I'm talking lasting joint pain relief with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. QC Kinetics advanced treatments harness your own body's ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue so you can walk, run, hike, play golf, move again, pain-free. Their advanced protocols have enabled tens of thousands of patients to reclaim their mobility. Stop putting it off. Take action now and live your best life again. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. 904-274-5522 in Mandarin and Ponte Vedra. That is QC Kinetics.
I can't believe tax season is here already. Look at all this info I have to enter.
Phil's small accounting firm is growing in numbers.
Why didn't I take that typing class in high school?
A data entry specialist could really help him in a crunch.
I got blisters on my fingers.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
You know, it's going to be go time out at UNF on Saturday. The Jacksonville Axemen. I love the Axemen, and I didn't realize this until I looked it up. I knew it had been a long time because, quite frankly, Denmark, I used to run and rip in Jacksonville Beach with the Axemen way back in the day in my younger years. The Jacksonville Axemen have been here in our community since 2006. They're like a fixture here. Sean Rutgerson is the head coach of the Axemen. They are at home on Saturday against the Tampa Mayhem, and Coach joins us here on 1010XL. Coach, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks, mate. How are you?
Coach, we're good. Thank you for the time. And let's talk about the Axemen. I mean, I go back with that organization back to the days of Spinner Howland when he started it basically 17, 18 years ago. You're now the head man in charge as head coach. How's the 2024 season gone for you guys to this point?
So far, mate, we've done pretty well. We've got lots of players. We've had 2 wins from 2 games. So, we're sitting in a reasonable position. And, yeah, mate, we need this win, our first home game win. We've got the men and the women playing. So it's going to be a big Saturday for us.
Now, it's the Tampa Mayhem on Saturday, correct, Coach?
Yeah, that's right, mate. They're our main rivals over the last probably 2 or 3 years. So should be a really good game.
And I saw that you guys played them a couple of weeks ago in a game that came down to the wire. So obviously it's a good team playing a good team. This is going to be a good competition on Saturday.
Yeah, that's right. They got quite a few international players, the same as the Axemen, and yeah, they're always a tough opponent, and they always fire up because we've had the last couple of wins against them. So they'll always, bring their best to try and knock us off.
Sean Rutgerson, the head coach of the Jacksonville Axemen. Coach, we gave away tickets last night. I've been to quite a few Axemen games over the years, and I got to tell you, not only are they fun on the field, they're very fun in the stands too, if you know what I mean. What can people look forward to when they go to an Axemen game out there at UNF?
Well, mate, it's going to be nice and sunny. We've got beers out there. And you want to see some good contact in the summer, good physical contact, and maybe a bit of blood. And you should come and watch because you're pretty close to the ground. You can hear everything, and as I said, get on the beers and have a good time.
Now, look, back in the day, I used to hang out with a bunch of the Axemen guys when they first started, 06, 07, 08. And they're an interesting group of guys, all right? I mean, it takes a different breed to play rugby. I mean, you got the physicality of football and hockey, and I think it's probably more physical, quite frankly. I mean, for people that might have seen rugby on TV but haven't actually witnessed it live, just briefly, Coach, kind of go in depth on what people can expect as far as on the field, what they're going to be watching, the physicality that's involved.
Well, we've got 13 guys on the field, and we've got a couple of substitutes on the bench, and we got, if we try to sort of give people an understanding, like in American football, you get 4 downs. Well, in our game, we get like 6 downs. We call them tackles. All right, and when you get in that tackle, when you're defending, when you tackle a player, you've got, you got to tackle them, put them on the ground, then you've got to get up and you've got to retreat 10 metres by the time they take the next snap. So it's kind of like a rush offense type thing. So, and there's no rest. You do the offense and the defense, and go 6 tackles, and then you got to punt if you don't score. And because you get back 10 metres every time, when you run the ball, you're running at a line of guys coming up at you. We don't really wear pads and things like that, so there's always some good contact. It's good fun.
There's no doubt the physicality is unbelievable. And, Coach, something that's changed from back in the day when I was really active. Now, granted, I've been to games in recent time too, but, I mean, I was there every time, right when the Axemen started. A big, big part of what I did is the women aspect of it. You have a women's team as well, so it's a nice little doubleheader of action on Saturday.
Yeah, that's right. We started the women a couple of years ago, mate, and the girls are really good, mate. They're, they go just as hard as the guys, but they're just a bit smaller, of course. And mate, it's good fun coaching them. They actually listen, and yeah, mate, it's something that was weird when I first saw the women play. I was like, I don't know, I felt a bit funny about it, but it didn't take long to see these girls at training and see they're just as good. We're just as good as the guys. We train all together, so I'll make unless we're doing 100%, contact. When we're doing our technique and stuff, they train with the men and tackle and wrestle with the guys. So, yeah, mate, they do the same thing, and it's mate, they'll put on a good show too. They're really good.
All right, Coach. Saturday against Sean Rutgerson, the head coach of the Jacksonville Axemen. Saturday at UNF, 7 o'clock, and I believe, 5 o'clock for the women's game. Tell people if they want to get tickets, what's the best way to do it, and what time they need to head on out to UNF for this rugby action.
Well, they just need to get there just before the women, which is they kick off at 5, so if you get there beforehand so you can grab a beer and get comfortable. And go to the Jacksonville Axemen website, jacksax.com, and you can get all your tickets from there.
Well, Coach, best of luck. Go out there and get the victory on Saturday against Tampa, and we'll be watching. Thank you as always, bud.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate you getting us on here. Thank you.
Sean Rutgerson, the head coach of the Jacksonville Axemen in Denmark. I'm not kidding, man. Back in the day, Spinner Howland was the guy that started the Axemen back in 06. Spinner, really good buddy of mine. I've kind of lost contact with him over the years. I believe he actually moved back to Australia, if memory serves. But the Axemen have been around now for 18 seasons here in Jacksonville. And those games out at UNF are awesome. Absolutely awesome. So if you want to go out there, if you're looking for something to do on Saturday, again, no NFL, right? I mean, no NBA on Saturday. No Major League Baseball here locally, obviously. If you want to go out there and do something that you're going to remember, I strongly recommend, encourage even, you got to check out the Jacksonville Axemen out there at UNF. It is unlike anything you've probably experienced, but in a good way. And I bet if you go once, you'll probably go back. So best of luck to Coach Rutgerson and the Axemen against Tampa on Saturday out at UNF. Game 3 of the NBA Finals going on. Of course, Boston leads the series 2-0. If Dallas wants to do anything in this series, they have to win tonight. And they're off to a very good start. The Mavericks 22-9 over the Boston Celtics in the first quarter. Let's see, we got about 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. 22-9. Luka's already on the board with 9 quick points. He leads the Mavericks in scoring. So we'll see. I mean, look, I'm a diehard NBA fan, but I told you guys this at the beginning of the week. For whatever reason, and I don't know, maybe it's to me a foregone conclusion, Boston's going to win this thing relatively easy. It's been kind of hard to get into this series. I mean, I think a lot of people were hoping for Boston and Denver, the Jokic factor, the defending world champion. Even though Dallas has Luka and Dallas has Kyrie, they're just not the most marketable team. They kind of flew under the radar a little bit. And then losing games 1 and 2 in Boston only magnified the fact that I think this is probably a 4 or 5 game series. But if Dallas wins tonight, it makes it a little more interesting, a little more intriguing. We'll see. Again, Dallas up 10, 4.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Coming up next, we'll get back into the National Football League. We'll look around the NFL. A lot of stories coming out. Minicamp wrapping up for a lot of teams. We'll also get into a little college football as well, a little mesh, a little college, a little NFL. Remember, in the 9 o'clock hour, our AFC North preview continues as we will go up to Pittsburgh. Ray Fittipaldo of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette as we will look back on the Steelers offseason and take a look ahead to what they have coming up as they get ready for training camp. And, oh, by the way, we are 11 hours, roughly, away from the United States Open in Pinehurst. Can Scotty Scheffler continue his absolutely historic pace? He's won 5 tournaments before the middle part of June this PGA season, including Arnie's tournament, including Jack's tournament, including the Players, and including the Masters. And I guess he just threw Hilton Head in for argument's sake. The guy has been a ferocious monster. And, by the way, he had a kid, and he got arrested. And none of that seemed to bother him. And nothing's affected Scotty Scheffler. Will that continue? What about a Morikawa? What about other guys along those lines? The Live guys are playing. We'll talk about all of it with Gary Smits of the Florida Times-Union towards the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour. With Dylan Denmark, the hacker Ryan Green with you. Jacksonville, we're glad you're with us. 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. We'll take you up till 10 o'clock tonight. Here it's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
1010XL takes you behind the microphone.
Give him to me. No, I'm not giving it. I don't want to get physical. I want to fight.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
Do you want to fight? I'll fight you. All right.
They are The Drill.
Not in the face. Not in the face.
Mornings on 1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Here's your 1010XL community calendar of local events and nonprofit groups helping people here at home.
Your kids can learn from NFL Hall of Famer Leroy Butler's annual free Legends football and cheer camp. June 22nd at the Police Athletic League at Ed Austin Park. Register at jaxpalsports.com.
If you'd like to play or sponsor in the ALS Amelia Island Golf Classic, August 9th at Amelia Island Golf Club at Long Point, go to alsgolfamelia.com.
The Tom Coughlin J Fund helps families battling childhood cancer, and there are ways you can help. Go to tcjfund.org.
Pace Center for Young Teen Girls has been helping local girls realize and fulfill their individual potential year-round since 1985. To see how you can help change a young girl's life in your community, visit pacecenter.org.
You can find out how to share your community event at 1010XL.com.
For the ones who know safety isn't a catchphrase, it's a culture. And the ones who help make sure everyone makes it home safe. For the safety-minded who watch everyone's backs, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as safety assessments and training to keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Attention veterans, if you have a VA loan, you need to listen to this, especially if your current rate is higher than 6.5%. Now is the time to take advantage of the federal government's VA Streamlined Refinance Program. With my friends at Loan Pronto, you can. Go to loanpronto.com. Prosser here, and Loan Pronto has fixed rate APRs in the 5s. You can drop your rate now. Lower your payment with no income documentation and no appraisal. Do it at loanpronto.com. Their all-digital platform makes it easy. They can even cover your closing costs. If you need cash now, Loan Pronto can get you up to 100% of your home value. You can pay off all your credit cards or other debt and save as much as $1,000 a month. Call Loan Pronto now at 904-999-1508 or get a 30-second rate quote at loanpronto.com. Ask about streamlined VA loans, no income doc, and no appraisal. Loan Pronto, 999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Hey Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Our returning champion, a basketball court sweat mopper from Jacksonville, Florida, meet Louis Cramp.
Great to be back, Merv.
There's only one category left on the board, Louis. People you can trust to repair your air conditioner. Your 10 seconds starts now.
Well, I'm pretty handy with tools around. Right, so my Uncle Steve used to fix transmissions, so maybe he could... Okay, sorry. I guess just call the guys at Bueller?
That's right, Louis. The highly trained technicians at Bueller Air and Plumbing have the tools and the experience to service any make and model of home air conditioner to make sure that you are cool.
You sure I can't just have a quick...
Yeah, we're done for today.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Are your kids ready to play this summer? Come check out the Y. Summer is a time for kids to explore new things and expand the limits of their imagination. At the Y Summer Camp, every day is a new adventure. Kids can learn about STEM, arts and humanities, athletic sports, outdoor games, and more. Registration is now open, but space is limited, and spots are filling up quickly. Learn more and find your adventure at fcymca.org. Search Summer Day Camp.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
You know, it's hard to beat a good controversy, particularly when it's a controversy involving hot dogs. So apparently, Joey Chestnut, who has won the Nathan's hot dog eating contest like 16 times out of the last 17 years, something ridiculous, is not going to be competing this year because he signed a contract with a competing hot dog vendor, I guess, a vegan form of hot dogs. Now, last night, the commissioners of the Nathan's hot dog eating competition, the Shea brothers, said, well, not necessarily. We'll see if we can work something out. But apparently all that was just ammunition for today's announcement. And I'm reading this correctly, I think, that apparently on Labor Day, which would be Monday, September the 2nd, right? National holiday, not the 4th of July, certainly, but Labor Day, on Netflix, you're going to have a battle between Joey Chestnut and Kobayashi. And ladies and gentlemen, you talk about the greatest rivals in the history of sports. You talk about Magic and Bird, Brady and Manning, right? Arnie and Jack, Tiger and Phil. Go on down the line. Maybe right there with all of those, certainly in the conversation, is Joey Chestnut and Kobayashi. And Kobayashi hasn't been able to compete against Chestnut for basically the same reason. He doesn't do anything with Nathan's hot dogs, hadn't for the last couple of years.
Is that why, really?
Yeah, apparently. He signed with a competing thing and they didn't allow him to do it anymore.
Is that okay? Isn't that kind of stupid?
Well, I that's the way.
I understand you got rules, but dude, if you're ESPN and you're trying to promote something you do once a year,
right?
But it's based on two people.
But this has nothing to do with ESPN. Here's the thing: that hot dog eating competition, that's their Super Bowl, but it's a year-round gig. I mean, they're eating hot dogs on the 4th of July. That's their Super Bowl. That's their Masters. That's their March Madness. But 3 weeks later, they're in Toledo eating black-eyed peas or whatever. 2 weeks later, they're in Sacramento eating deviled eggs. I mean, this is a league. They have rankings and everything. I know it's odd, but they travel around. The only one that's shown is the hot dog one because that's the biggest one. And when you're not affiliated with their league, you can't participate in the hot dog contest. Again, ESPN airs the hot dog contest, but they don't run the league.
Yeah, but don't you think ESPN would pony up some money and say, hey, let this slide?
Oh, I'm sure, but apparently Netflix did that. Because apparently Netflix is going to have Chestnut versus Kobayashi on September 2nd. I'll tell you right now, depending on how they market that, that'll be a big deal, man. I'll watch it. One of the grossest 30 for 30s I've ever seen in my life was the one about the hot dog eating contest. And they did one. ESPN actually did one. It was gross, but it was interesting. So, yeah. I don't know if Chestnut's going to compete in Nathan's or not. There's still some speculation about that. But apparently, mark your calendars, for Labor Day, Monday, September 2nd, Netflix is going to do a Chestnut Kobayashi hot dog challenge. That'll be 5-6 years in the making since they last competed against one another. And honestly, I'm really not joking about this. I bet you a ton of people will watch that. I know I'll watch it, depending on, the build-up and all that. Quickly, from the hot dog eating world, And by the way, the record on that is like 74 hot dogs and hot dog buns in 10 minutes, which was disgusting when I wasn't on this weight loss program that's changing my life, Awaken 180. But the thought of 74 hot dogs now that I've lost 68 plus pounds is even grosser to think about. Denmark, in 10 minutes, how many hot dogs can you eat in buns?
If I'm hungry, I'd probably say 6 or 7.
Could you eat 74 hot dogs? I mean, that's the record in 10 minutes, hot dogs and hot dog buns. Could you eat 74 in 10 hours?
No.
I've often thought about that. Like, they do this in 10, 12 minutes. I don't think I could eat 74 hot dogs in 10 hours. That would be obviously 7.5 roughly hot dogs per hour for 10 hours, and there's just no way I could do that. It is, the thing about Joey Chestnut, too, and I don't know if you'll remember this or not, this was before you started working here. Back in the day, I participated in the Milk Challenge.
Man, I meant to bring this up to you a couple months ago.
Yeah.
So I was watching the YouTube archives with John, and you were throwing up.
3 different radio stations. I did it on 930, I did it on the Toaster, and I did it here.
So the one you did here, someone's driving by and they honk, and you raise your hand up like, dude, get out of here, man. That was the funniest thing.
It's a gallon of milk in an hour. Now, I've retired from this, so we haven't done it in 10 years. Maybe there will come a day we bring it out of retirement, but I doubt it. The last one we did, we had like 80 listeners show up in our parking lot to watch me and like 4 listeners that joined me try to drink a gallon of milk in an hour.
We could easily break that now.
I'm sure we could break it now. It's impossible to do unless you're Joey Chestnut. I saw Joey Chestnut down a gallon of milk on a video in like 12 seconds. It was one of the more remarkable things you've ever seen. That's where I first found out about him. And the guy is a freak. I mean, he's an absolute freak. It's interesting. We had a guy on from Jacksonville, Hall Hunt, that actually participated in the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest. He was on the circuit for a year or 2. I usually get him on around the 4th of July to talk about that. We'll do more into college football in the coming days. Again, the over-under win total for Florida has actually gone down, amazingly enough, from 5.5 to 4.5. To me, I think that's easy money. I just don't think the Gators are going to go 4-8. Now, I don't think they're going to go 9-3 either. But if you tell me I have an over-under win total of 4.5 for the Gators, which is what it is right now at some Vegas betting lines, I will take the over all day. At 5-7, I'm in the money, and I can't imagine Florida's going to go under 5-7. Does Vegas know something that I don't? I don't know, but I was really caught off guard that Florida went down in their projected win total. We'll certainly talk more about that as the week goes on. A lot of draft love for Graham Mertz, too. Some draft guys seem to like him as a prospect, which is interesting, seeing as how Gator fans were so unbelievably lukewarm on him just 12 months ago. Some more college talk coming up in the coming days, but back into the National Football League. Our AFC North preview continues. We've been to Cincinnati. We've been to Cleveland. Tonight, it's all about Pittsburgh. Russell Wilson, Justin Fields. How's that dynamic going to work? Ray Fittipaldo, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, is our Steeler guy. Let's review the Steelers' offseason and talk about where they fit in the AFC North. That's next. Hacker After Dark on a Wednesday evening in Jacksonville, Florida. And we are glad you are with us.
You have heard about the 1010XL YouTube channel. Now check out our team-specific channels, 1010XL Jaguars, 1010XL Gators, and 1010XL Seminoles, bringing up specific, up-to-the-minute video coverage of your favorite local team. And find us on YouTube today.
Your Jaguars game day, your way. Whether you want to see a division rival like the Titans, an NFC North opponent like the Packers, or a mix, deciding on your favorite matchups has never been easier with Bundle at the Bank.
Touchdown, Travis Etienne!
Get tickets to 3 or more games starting at just $58 per game. It's as easy as pick, pay, and play. But seats are selling fast, so visit Jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000.
I
can't believe tax season is here already. Look at all this info I have to enter.
Phil's small accounting firm is growing in numbers.
Why didn't I take that typing class in high school?
A data entry specialist could really help him in a crunch.
I got blisters on my fingers.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Duck Rooter is the only master septic contractor in Northeast Florida, and we want to help you protect your septic system. Think about this. What would happen to your car if you never change the oil? Septic systems are no different and should be pumped at least every 3 years. Lack of maintenance is the #1 reason for septic system failure. Call Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services today to schedule your pumping.
When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769.
Hey folks, it's Mike Dempsey for Pella Windows and Doors. Now you probably heard me mention that errant golf ball that led us to replace our windows. And obviously, if I'm investing in my home's appearance and comfort, I want the best. Well, now my new Pella windows are installed and they look fantastic. And we've already noticed a difference in outside noise reduction and energy savings. So if you need to replace your windows or doors, visit my friends at the Pella showroom on Phillips Highway or check them out online at PellaJacks.com. That's Pella Windows and Doors.
Everyone agrees that playing quarterback is the hardest thing to do in sports, yet it's the one thing that everyone says they could do.
Denny Thompson is the Quarterback Whisperer. Friday mornings on The Drill. Brought to you by Tyson Sound and Security and George Moore Chevrolet.
It's the coolest week to save during the summer fan sale at First Coast Lighting and Fans. Buy one fan, save 10%. Buy two, save 15%. Buy three or more and save 20% off all fans at First Coast Lighting and Fans. Showroom near the Avenues.
Transmission troubles? I'm Robin Sidbury, owner of Action Transmission Specialist on Merrill Road. So come in and see how we can help solve your transmission troubles. We service all makes and models. Remember, get traction. Call Action at 744-0755.
For the ones who know safety isn't a catchphrase, it's a culture. And the ones who help make sure everyone makes it home safe. For the safety-minded who watch everyone's backs, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as safety assessments and training to keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Spring is here, and along with it comes the best golfing days of the year. Come out to Hidden Hills and test out our Arnold Palmer signature masterpiece and enjoy the popular Hills Grill after your round. Book your tee time today, hiddenhillsgc.com.
I'm sure many of you guys feel like you wish you could be as fit as you were in your 20s. The dad bod is really tough to shed. I'm Dr. Lance Snyder, and I did something about it through Dr. Rappaport at the Jax Aesthetic Center. I'm active, I played college sports, and I still work out a few times a week. Nothing worked. As a doctor and a dad, I want to be around as long as possible and feel good about my body. Dr. Rappaport put together a personalized treatment plan that worked. It was easy for me to make appointments, get to those appointments, and get back to work in time. I also recommend the Emsella chair for any urinary issues or ED. Dr. Rappaport has state-of-the-art treatment options for men. And the M-Sculpt Neo is an abs blast. 20,000 crunches in 30 minutes. Give yourself your own gift this Father's Day at the Jax Aesthetic Center. Build muscle and lose fat. Call or text today, 904-808-2455. That's 904-808-2455. You won't be sorry.
Hacker here, and I just got back from a 9-day cruise to the Caribbean. Now, I knew I was going to slip off my Awaken 180 program because, hey, I deserve it. I've lost 65 pounds so far. But guess what? My Awaken 180 coach even suggested it and helped me cheat. She showed me how to take a break for 9 days and not put any of the weight back on. I ate all sorts of foods, from fried green tomatoes to frog legs, but the shocking part, I didn't keep going back up for seconds, thirds, or fourths. My body didn't need it, and I really didn't want it. Did I lose weight on vacation? No, I was on a break. But did I gain 10 pounds? No, sir. I didn't gain a single pound because my metabolism is on fire. My body's just doing its thing. If you want a program that works, want coaches that understand real life, do what we all did and call Awaken 180. They've got your back while keeping your front from popping. 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com. TruckOutfitters.com.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes, and I've got some exciting news from Leonard Truck Outfitters and their new location on Beach Boulevard. Stocking brands like Real Truck, UWS, WeatherGuard, Carry-On Trailers, and much more. Grand opening celebration June 28th, starting at noon with tons of special promotions and giveaways like a brand new golf cart.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us as our AFC North preview continues. We will make stops in Baltimore, Cincinnati, and Cleveland tonight. It's all about the Pittsburgh Steelers, and what an offseason it was. Not one, but two new quarterbacks in Pittsburgh. How is that dynamic going to work out? There's a lot to discuss. With that, our guy up in Pittsburgh is Ray Fittipaldo of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Ray, how you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Hey, Ray, we always appreciate the time. All right, looking back to last year, kind of a improbable run to the playoffs. Obviously, it didn't get past Wild Card Weekend, but now that you've had months to reflect back, just another testament to how great a coach Mike Tomlin is to get that squad into the playoffs last year.
Yeah, listen, they were on the brink of elimination. I think their playoff chances, when you looked at, those simulators in December after they lost back-to-back home games to the Cardinals and Patriots, it was like at 5% or 10%. And, there was a change of quarterback. Mason Rudolph came in because Mitch Trubisky was ineffective. That was preceded by an injury to Kenny Pickett, and they made an improbable run. So was it a fluke, or is there something to build on here? It's interesting. The Steelers had a clean sweep of their quarterbacks room. Mason Rudolph is not here. Kenny Pickett is not here, and Mitch Trubisky is not here either. That's almost unprecedented in the NFL these days. They're going with Russell Wilson as their starter this year. Justin Fields was brought in to be his backup. They're both on one-year deals, so it's kind of unsettled at quarterback, but you're right. Mike Tomlin is a really good coach. They have a really good defense, and they actually got some players at the skill positions on the offensive line that could help this team take a step forward this season. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of excitement at training camp in about a month or so, but I think the 2024 season, the main storyline is going to be the quarterbacks. How does Russell Wilson do in his first season with the Steelers?
And we certainly want to get into there, but before we get there, let's look back. Kenny Pickett, first-round pick not that long ago, right? Why didn't it work out, and why was the plug pulled so quickly?
The plug was pulled so quickly because he wanted out after the Russell Wilson trade. The Steelers were going to have a competition there with Pickett and Wilson. Pickett didn't want that. He wanted a fresh start, so they dealt him, and shortly thereafter they were able to land Justin Fields. But if you look back on his career, he made some clutch plays as a rookie, not so many last year. And one of the themes of his short stint in Pittsburgh were injuries. He had some concussion issues as a rookie. Then he had a surgery for a high ankle sprain last season that put him on the shelf for about 4 or 5 weeks. So never really able to stay healthy and be that dependable guy in the lineup. And even when he was more of a game manager than anything else. So, we'll see what Russell Wilson is at this stage of his career. I think, comparing those two, I think Wilson probably does that game manager thing better, but he's also 36 years old, so there's a lot of questions that remain there as well.
Ray Fittipaldo of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette talking Steelers as our AFC North preview continues here on 1010XL. All right, Russell Wilson, disaster in Denver for a couple of years. He's certainly looking to re-enhance his image of what he was in Seattle. Running out of years to do that, Ray. And it's interesting with Pittsburgh. The Steelers normally don't do this, right? You think about the great Steeler quarterbacks, the Hall of Fame caliber quarterbacks. They normally don't bring in a veteran late in his career. What was the thinking about bringing in Russell Wilson?
I just think they, they need a stability at the position, and it's hard to replace a franchise quarterback. If you go back and look at the Steelers' history. Terry Bradshaw retired in the 1983 season, after the 1983 season, and it wasn't until 2004 that they found that next great quarterback. So, they were good in some of those years. They actually went to a Super Bowl with Neil O'Donnell, and, they got to some AFC championships games with Cordell Stewart, but they weren't able to become that Super Bowl caliber team again until they got that franchise guy again. And, we're just in the early stages now of the Steelers trying to replace Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, they're already on like their third guy, and Ben's only been gone for 2 years now. So, it could be a struggle, but, just looking back, they went young with Kenny Pickett. That didn't work out. It rarely works out when you draft a quarterback in the 20s. I think history has proven that. So go out, get yourself a Super Bowl winning quarterback, albeit a guy in the later stages of his career, and see if he can sort of just be a leader for a team that is set up to have success. So, I mentioned this defense. This defense should be a top 10 defense again this season, barring any injuries. And if Russell Wilson can just limit the turnovers, be a good leader out there, score in the red zone, I think the Steelers will be right on the cusp of the playoffs again, and possibly looking to get their first playoff victory since the 2016 season. That was the year they lost. 2017 was the season they lost to the Jaguars in the divisional round up here in Pittsburgh. So it's been a while since they won a playoff game, and they think Russell Wilson is that guy to bring them back there.
So Russell Wilson arrives, and a day or two later, right, they make that deal for Justin Fields, it seemed like.
Yeah.
I mean, the dynamic there of bringing Fields in, the reasoning behind that, and how have both guys looked in the offseason?
Yeah, again, Fields is here because Pickett didn't want to be here, so I wouldn't necessarily view that as a quarterback competition. Russell Wilson is this team's starter. He's going to be the starter in the opener, and barring bad play early in the season, he's probably going to be the starter for the entire season. So that's where they are. I think what makes it an interesting dynamic is both guys are basically on one-year deals. Fields is in the last year of his rookie deal, and I think everyone knows, Russell Wilson took the veteran minimum to play for the Steelers because the Broncos are picking up $39 million in his salary after that bad contract that the Broncos signed him to. So, it could turn out to be a messy situation if Wilson doesn't play well, but the expectation for the Steelers is if he does play well, we'll do another contract with him, and then Fields likely will be looking for another team in 2025.
A couple of more for Ray Fittipaldo of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Let's talk about the skill position guys. Deontay Johnson is gone, right? He's in Carolina now. George Pickens is the guy. But after George Pickens, Ray, I mean, what do they have at the wide receiver position?
Next to nothing. I mean, you got guys like Van Jefferson, Scotty Miller, Quez Watkins. They used a third-round pick on Roman Wilson. Sticking a rookie third-round pick into a situation where he has to be your number two might be a little bit of a big ask, if you're asking me. So, the Steelers have been linked to some trade speculation, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, Cortland Sutton, some of the guys who are unhappy with their contracts in other cities. So, there might be another shoe to drop here. But as we sit here right now, the Steelers are doing their mini camp this week. They are extremely thin at the position other than George Pickens. So maybe it's not a huge concern because new offensive coordinator Arthur Smith has a run-based offense. If you look at what he did with the Tennessee Titans when he was their OC and what he did in Atlanta for most of his tenure there, he really liked to run the ball. So the Steelers are going to have that, that physical identity to their football team, but I still think you need to upgrade that receiver, that number two receiver before the season. And, we'll see if the Steelers make a move there in July or August.
You cover this team as closely as anybody. What was your level of surprise they did not pick up the fifth-year option on Najee Harris?
I was surprised. Najee Harris isn't a dynamic home run hitter. He came out the same year as Travis Etienne. I think he was taken one slot before Etienne, and Etienne was kind of like the home run hitter, and Najee Harris is more the, between the tackles, move the chains type of a guy. And, that's what he's been. He's not flashy, but he's been durable. He's never missed a game, doesn't fumble a lot, and he's put up, 3 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. So, I know people downplay 1,000-yard seasons anymore, but the fact is that he's been a durable guy. So, it wasn't an expensive pickup. I think it would have been around $7 million, but I think the Steelers are taking the approach that a lot of teams are taking. Go cheap at the running back position, spend your money elsewhere, and just go with guys you can find in the later rounds or in undrafted free agency. You look at their number 2 running back. It's kind of like a running back duo for the Steelers. Jaylen Warren, almost just as productive as Najee Harris. He was an undrafted free agent a couple of years ago. So you can find those guys, and you can find those guys for cheap.
Final moments, Ray Fittipaldo of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette talking Pittsburgh Steelers with us here on 1010XL. Ray, defensively, as we begin to wrap up, Patrick Queen arrives. Certainly you take him from Baltimore. That's a big deal for Pittsburgh. How else is that defense looking coming into the year?
Yeah, Queen theoretically should bolster the middle of their defense. They've really struggled to replace Ryan Shazier since he had his career-ending injury. It's been years since that happened. 2017 that happened, and they've really never found a replacement. So they're hoping that Patrick Queen is that guy. So that should help the second level of the defense. The other level is the third level. The corners and the safeties. You're going to have 3 new players in starting positions. Dante Jackson is coming in. He's going to take over for Patrick Peterson. Deshaun Elliott, strong safety, is going to take over. Deshaun Elliott taking over for Keanu Neal at strong safety. And then Cam Sutton returns to the Steelers in the slot after signing in free agency with the Lions, and then running into some off the field troubles there. So I think the Sutton signing is good on the field for the Steelers. He'll stabilize that slot position for them, but there's still a lot of questions about Elliott and Jackson and how they fit into the defense. If they're good, if the secondary can be good with that pass rush that they have, and with Patrick Queen in the middle, this has a chance, as I mentioned, again, to be a top 10 defense, both in yards allowed and in points allowed, I think, this season.
Ray, the division is brutally tough. Probably the best division in football, with Baltimore, with Cleveland, with Burrow back in Cincinnati. What is the thought from the fan base coming into the year about where the Steelers are heading into that division?
Yeah, a lot of people didn't think they were going to get there last year. Now, albeit they were helped out because Joe Burrow had an injury, and the Bengals struggled once again without him. So it's going to be tough. Listen, if the Bengals are back to full strength with Burrow, they're going to be a tough out. They'll be right in the thick of it. Lamar Jackson remains in his prime. With the Ravens, they're coming off, another good season. And, the Browns, they got some questions like the Steelers do, but I think their roster sets them up to be very competitive. So I think it's going to be a situation where if they don't win the division, and I have my doubts that they will, they'll be in a battle for a wild card spot. That number 5, 6, 7 seed in the AFC. It's tough to advance from there, but you mentioned it. The toughest division in football. Great players all around in that division, specifically at quarterback. So it's going to be a tough road for the Steelers, who, by the way, also have the NFL's toughest schedule in 2024.
Ray, we know there's a lot of Pittsburgh fans here in the Northeast Florida area. For people that want to follow your coverage of the Steelers, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, you can get me on X at RayFit1, RayFitt1. That's where I promote all my stories on postgazette.com.
Ray Fittipaldo of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. He's our guy when it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ray, thank you as always. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it.
The home of the home team you grew up with.
And what a pleasure it must be to play quarterback for the Jaguars, to have this kind of talent on both sides of the ball.
1010XL.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab Crab House.
Hey, it's Roger Moore, CEO of Loan Pronto. If you're like me, you're getting crushed by rising costs of everything these days. I get it. It's brutal, and credit card rates are ridiculous and going higher. That's why at Loan Pronto, we launched our Express Equity Line of Credit to bring you the relief you and your family need, using your home, your most valuable asset. We've helped thousands of people like you get fast relief with cash. The average homeowner who does this gets tens of thousands in just days and is able to save $850 per month in overall expenses. I'm talking life-changing money. Your money that you have access to right now. Listen, if you're ready to get control of your finances and get off the hamster wheel, call Loan Pronto. You can get approved for Express Equity Line of Credit in just minutes, and we can get your cash in less than a week. Stop digging a deeper credit card hole today. Call Loan Pronto now. 904-999-1508. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com. 904-999-1508.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
What's up? I'm Patrick Young. If you're a business owner, make your plans to attend the Florida SBDC Network Small Business Success Summit, August 19th and 20th at the Sawgrass Marriott in Ponte Vedra. You'll network with other Florida business owners, learn marketing and operational strategies. Plus, I'll deliver an inspirational keynote message. There's also a reverse trade show event where you can speak with government agencies to explore their business partnerships. Register online at floridasbdc.org, and I will see you there.
She's very comfortable talking sports and hanging out with the boys.
Mia O'Brien here, still providing the best multimedia sports coverage in Northeast Florida on 1010XL radio, video, and social channels.
All things Mia are driven by Arlington Toyota.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes, and summer's here on the First Coast. You know, long days, short sleeves, lazy summer afternoons, and soaring temperatures that can do a number on your AC. But do what I did and plan ahead with an expert AC tune-up from Fenwick Home Services to avoid those costly summer breakdowns. If you've heard me say it once, you've heard it 1,000 times. Hope is not a plan. That's why Fenwick Home Services has you covered 24/7 with same-day service, including maintenance plans, free same-day estimates, and guaranteed repairs. Book online at FenwickHomeservices.com. That's FenwickHomeservices.com.
Here's your 1010XL community calendar of local events and nonprofit groups helping people here at home.
Your kids can learn from NFL Hall of Famer Leroy Butler's annual free Legends football and cheer camp. June 22nd at the Police Athletic League at Ed Austin Park. Register at jackspalsports.com.
If you'd like to play or sponsor in the ALS Amelia Island Golf Classic, August 9th at Amelia Island Golf Club at Long Point, go to alsgolfamelia.com.
The Tom Coughlin J Fund helps families battling childhood cancer, and there are ways you can help. Go to tcjfund.org.
PACE Center for Young Teen Girls has been helping local girls realize and fulfill their individual potential year-round since 1985. To see how you can help change a young girl's life in your community, visit pacecenter.org.
You can find out how to share your community event at 1010XL.com.
I joke around with my wife and call it my bionic knee.
But before Ernest became a patient with QC Kinetics, it was a different story.
I'd go to bed with my knee throbbing, heat, ice. I would get up in the middle of the night to get a drink or something, and I would just be hobbling.
He wasn't able to play on his rec basketball team or work in the yard. But QC Kinetics regenerative treatments turned around the situation without surgery or downtime, using Ernest's own healing properties to help restore his aching knee, now known as Ernest's bionic knee.
I am really happy because I am playing the game that I love so much, and I'm playing with my granddaughter, and I'm gardening, and I'm on my knees, and I'm jumping up. I have a 200-pound dog, and I'm playing with my dog.
Now Ernest is living his best life thanks to QC Kinetics, and so can you. Call today for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 904-274-5522. That's 904-274-5522. 904-274-5522.
I
can't believe tax season is here already. Look at all this info I have to enter.
Phil's small accounting firm is growing in numbers.
Why didn't I take that typing class in high school?
A data entry specialist could really help him in a crunch.
I got blisters on my fingers.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Boy, there's a ton going on in the world of sports. The College World Series begins on Friday. The Jaguars just wrapped up their off-season program. And the United States Open tees off now in less than 12 hours up in Pinehurst. Let's talk to a man that has forgotten more about golf than I'll ever know, my buddy Gary Smits of the Florida Times-Union. We lovingly call him Smitter, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Smitter, how we doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Hey, Gary, we always appreciate it. All right, first and foremost, some people are Masters people. Some people are United States Open people. Where does Gary Smits fall on that?
Probably the Masters. I'm not going to lie. I've been there 24 times, and you come to have a love of the property and what it means and everything. But the U.S. Open is a different kind of test. It's designed to make everybody uncomfortable, okay? The USGA is going to set that course up to try to preserve a score of par, if possible, weather permitting. If it's you go to Congressional in 2011, where they had a month of rain beforehand and Rory shot 11 under, not much you can do about that. And the last time they went to Pinehurst, Martin Keimer shot 9 under, won by 8 shots, but everybody else struggled to break par. It's always going to be hot. It's going to be tough on the fans. It's going to be tough on the on-site media covering it. But it's going to be fun because I'm in the category of people that there's nothing wrong with these guys having to play a tournament or two, weather permitting, whether it's here, whether it's a British Open, whether it's a Players Championship. And some years it's Pebble, some years it's Hilton Head, where they have to struggle to make par. And anymore, with these guys as good as they are and the equipment they have, weather is the equalizer. Weather is what's going to make it difficult. And there's not going to be much rain up in Pinehurst, so the USGA can kind of go full bore. They're going to have those greens running at 13. And by the way, those greens, they call them turtleback greens. There's runoff on all sides of the greens. You can hit, and this is what's going to be the frustrating part, and where an incredible amount of patience is going to take place for the winner, is you can hit, you've got to get used to the idea that you can hit a good shot and you're not going to get rewarded. Guys are okay with hitting a bad shot, not getting rewarded. They're okay maybe with even a marginal shot, which is the TPC Sawgrass kind of specializes in that, where if you hit a C-plus shot, you may get an F result. You could hit what you think is the right yardage into a green, hit the spot you're aiming at, and you still may get that ball roll off or roll back off of one of those greens, and you're kind of screwed.
At the U.S. Open, again, Gary Smits of the Times-Union, at the U.S. Open, as you mentioned, Smitter, the course is always one of, if not the biggest star. Let's talk about Pinehurst. My lasting memory of Pinehurst was Payne Stewart making that putt to beat Phil Mickelson, and then he went over to Phil and said, there's nothing in this world like being a father. I mean, it was a great moment. And then, of course, we lost Payne, not long after that, and just a terrible accident. But to me, when I always hear Pinehurst, that's the lasting memory. But let's talk about the course. How do you believe it will play? How tough will it be beginning tomorrow morning?
Well, Payne won at even par, one over, crap. Then in 2005, Michael Campbell was a couple under and won that. And then Keimer was kind of an aberration where he shot 9 under, but Ricky Fowler and Eric Compton tied for second at 1 under. Then there were a bunch of 1 overs. So I don't think there's a 9-under out there. I really don't. Not from everything I'm reading and everything I'm seeing. And people are posting videos of the balls running off of the green. And Johnson Wagner on Golf Channel was having a field day, and they got this gorse. They got stuff that's impossible to get out of. And they have made this course a little bit tougher since 2005. There have been some renovations. The 18th hole is really difficult. The 13th hole is a 524-yard par 4.
Wow.
You think about that a little bit. So now, if you're looking for a guy who's got an incredible amount of patience and can play well on a course where par is a good score, it's the world's #1 player and last week's winner, Scotty Scheffler, who has won 5 times this year. He's won the Masters, won the Players, won Arnold and Jack's tournament, which is pretty good. I think he snuck that one into Hilton Head just to show off. But, you know, Scotty can win either way. He won the Players Championship when weather conditions dictated that it was going to be a little bit of a shootout, and Scotty won that. But then, you know, last week the conditions were difficult at the Memorial, and Scotty's been trending his last 3 U.S. Opens. He's finished top 5 in the last 3, of course, different courses. But, you know, he's been kind of heading in this direction. And there are some people who are kind of surprised that I talked to somebody at the Players Championship, and they thought that if Scotty was going to win a major, it might have been a U.S. Open first because he had that kind of mentality for the patience required of and dealing with frustration of dealing with the U.S. Open. Of course, he's got 2 Masters now, so that was not what the mindset was of people with all what major will Scotty Scheffler win. Immediately, a lot of people thought U.S. Open, but there it is, and I think he's going to win one of these before too long.
Smitter, you know, we know the run that Tiger had, obviously. That 12-month run was incredible. You know, you go back to Jack and Arnie, I mean, obviously. But as far as Scheffler and what he's done really in the last 12 months, I mean, we're getting into some historic territory with him now, are we not?
Well, it's already historic, and he did something that Tiger and Jack never did, is he's the first and only guy since Tom Watson in 1980 to win 5 tournaments before the U.S. Open.
Wow.
So that should tell you right there. The most Tiger won in one season was 9 tournaments, so he's more than halfway there. I do believe that might be the most Jack won in one season. So yeah, this is historic territory, and I think the fact that Scott, there are guys who can win if the winning score is 20 under. There are guys who are better, like Justin Leonard. I'll give you a great example. When the score is around even par, Scotty can do both, and that's not easy. It's not easy to be able to win a birdie fest and to win a thing where the conditions are so difficult. That said, the guy that won the PGA Tour is Andrew Schauffele, has that kind of patience, has that kind of game. The guy who finished second to Scotty the other day at the Memorial, Colin Morikawa, has already won 2 majors, a PGA and a British Open. So, you know, he's certainly capable. And right now, I guess, you know, and Scotty's William Hill bookmaker in London has Scotty at 3-1. The last time the odds were this short on a U.S. Open favorite going into the tournament was Tiger in 2009 at 2-1. Of course, what happened in 2009? They were on a difficult course, Bethpage. There was adverse weather. There was a lot of stop-start. They had a Monday finish, and Lucas Glover won it. I'm thinking that we might be about ready for a Lucas Glover, a Michael Campbell, a Sean McKeel at the 2003 PGA. I think we're due for a guy in that caliber to do this. And here's where those guys kind of have an advantage in the U.S. Open. Being a hero never works in the U.S. Open. Ask Phil Mickelson. He's finished second 6 times. Okay. Ask David Duval. He's had his chances in the U.S. Open. But if you stay, I kind of hate this phrase. It's so cliche. But if you stay within yourself, if you don't try to do things beyond your capabilities, you've got a chance at the U.S. Open, because the U.S. Open setup punishes guys who want to bomb it out there 330, who want to fire at every tight pin, and it's just not going to work. And I know you're going to ask me a couple of favors. I like a guy like Corey Connors from Canada, who's won a couple of tournaments, and he's very, very steady out there. I like a guy like Harris English up in St. Simons Island, Georgia, who's had about 4 or 5 top 10s in U.S. Opens and has been very, very efficient on these kind of courses. And maybe go back to the guy who won the U.S. Open at the Country Club a couple of years ago, Matthew Fitzpatrick from England, who I think could contend here because they don't let their ego get in the way of trying to win this golf tournament.
As we begin to wrap up, Smitter, I want to end with the Jaguars as well, because you've been out there at every practice this offseason, and they ended things earlier today with minicamp. You mentioned Morikawa. Boy, if Scheffler wasn't on the run that he's on, who knows how many tournaments Morikawa would have won. Every time I turn on the television, it seems on Sunday afternoon, those two are in the final pairing, or Morikawa is a group ahead, and Morikawa's finishing second to Scotty Scheffler. I mean, I imagine Morikawa has got to be pretty frustrated at this point.
Well, he could be, but he's still going to come back and be a competitor and be a dog out there. And Xander Schaufel's the same way. I think we're on the cusp of a really great era here. Scotty Scheffler may not dominate the way Tiger dominated, but I think that we got a real good chance to, if you go back to the 70s and 80s when it was Jack and Watson and Player and Trevino, I think we're on the edge of that and everything. And throw Bryson DeChambeau in there too right now, who's a Live Golf member, and there are rumors that a framework agreement may be coming next week between Live Golf, the Saudi Public Investment Fund, the PGA Tour, and the PGA Tour Investment Group, SSI, who's coming in there, and throw DeChambeau in there. If we can get these Live guys back playing regular PGA Tour events, I think it's going to be just great for golf over the next 10 or 15 years, and hopefully that can sustain itself. But you're not going to lose money if you bet on Colin Morikawa in every tournament. He's going to reward you at some point.
Gary Smits of the Times Union. Gary, final golf question. You mentioned the Live situation. If that happens, like you're talking about next week, and sooner rather than later, the Live guys are back playing pretty regularly on the tour, not just at majors, how will that be received?
I think that PGA Tour players who stay loyal to the tour, if there is some kind of financial situation where, let's say, they play for 75% of the purse until they feel that that's kind of been inadequate. I don't know if you fine them, and the membership, the PGA Tour membership will have to sign off on this also. I think that they're ready for the crap to stop. I think they're ready for the turmoil to stop and everybody get back to getting the best players in the world at as many tournaments as possible. And I think there may be some form of Live Golf out there. It may not be 16 tournaments a year. It may be like 8. You may even have some PGA Tour players who compete in the team aspect of it. I think that both can function. I really do. And I think that tour guys who may have been a little bit thought maybe vindictively, so wait a second, I stayed loyal to the tour. I didn't chase the easy money. I didn't to play in a no-cut 54-hole tournament. I think they're so ready for this thing to be over and to get those guys back. And you know what? There's never been any bad blood between a Live player and a PGA Tour player that anyone's ever been able to detect. There's not too many guys crazy about Greg Norman because he went all scorched earth, criticizing the tour, the product, everything else. But I think we're going to be surprised at the conciliatory nature that the players have for each other when this thing finally gets done.
Smitter, as we say goodbye, you've been out there at every practice. You also do a great job covering the Jaguars for the Florida Times Union. The offseason program ended earlier today. They did their final practice of minicamp. Gary, your thoughts from where the team ended in January to where they are now. How much better is this Jaguar roster?
Well, I think they upgraded themselves draft offensively, mostly in the draft and free agency. I think the positions that were the most interest in the minicamp and OTAs, obviously not in pads, is wide receiver and defensive back. And I think a lot of guys, Brian Thomas, the first-round draft pick, dropped a couple of passes early, and he settled down, and he looks very smooth. He looks the part of an NFL wide receiver. Gabe Davis is going to be a great addition to that room. Jerry Jones from Florida State did a great job. I think he may be competing for the starting job at nickel, and then Darnell Savage, had a couple of good moments in camp and everything. So, and you know what, that's the nature of the beast in OTAs and minicamp. You don't have pads. You're not really able to evaluate the offensive and defensive line, but you can sure get a good look at the skill position guys. And I'll tell you somebody who looked really good a couple of times, and people are going to get surprised maybe about this because of the injury. Ventrell Miller looks very, very good out there. And there was a point the other day in a mini camp in a 7-on-7. All of a sudden, it was a mismatch. I think the offense got the matchup it wanted, but Ventrell wound up covering a wide receiver deep, and he was step for step and made the play out in the end zone on about a 40-yard pattern and everything. So, and then he was a guy that was hurt all last year. And then on the offensive line, Cooper Hodges from Baker County, they've been raving about him, the coaches, and what we've been able to see. But they think he's ready to kind of step in, and you might see a little bit more of him. But I really like the way the skill position guys looked.
And the Jaguars will come back. I think July 23rd is the day they will report to training camp. Gary Smits of the Florida Times-Union covers the Jags, obviously the world of golf as well. Gary, I got to ask you really quick while we have you here, Florida State and Florida, both in the College World Series. Do you think they'll make some noise in Omaha?
I think Florida right now. I think Florida has a lot of momentum going on right now for that victory over Clemson, and everybody still may be writing them off a little bit, and they're in that one half of the bracket. Florida State, I think, drew the toughest team in the World Series in Tennessee, so we'll find out Friday night. But I think I tell you what, it would not stun me to see a Tennessee-Florida final. It would not stun me to see a Florida State final. But I think this is a great testament to baseball and the SEC and the ACC. 4 teams in each. No Big 12 teams, no Pac-12 teams. Even though the Pac-12 was on its way out, they still had teams right there with a chance. And but I think it's going to be absolutely, and a lot of local kids are in this, so it's going to be fun.
You can check out Gary Smits' terrific work at Jacksonville.com, the Florida Times-Union. Gary, thank you as always, man. We'll talk again soon.
All right, thanks for having me.
Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
And thank you to my buddy Gary Smits of the Florida Times-Union for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark. What are we, about 10 hours roughly, I guess, right? Well, 9.5 hours away from the first tee times of the United States Open tomorrow at Pinehurst. We'll have U.S. Open updates all day here tomorrow on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. My big takeaway of the evening here on Hacker After Dark, well, the Jaguars wrapped up the off-season program. Minicamp is in the books. They will come back towards the end of July for training camp. And my big takeaway is this, and I've said it basically the entire offseason, at least since free agency. They're a better football team on paper right now than they were when the season ended. And that's all you can ask for a GM and a staff to put together a team that is better in June/July than they were in January. I feel the Jaguars have accomplished that. How much better? How much better will the results be? Well, obviously we have to wait a few months to find that out. All we can go on is the roster, the depth chart on a piece of paper. And to me, on that paper, it is a better, more complete roster now than when the 2023 season came to an end. Well, that'll just about do it. Very busy Wednesday night edition of Hacker After Dark. We certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. We have a ton of people to thank. Smitter, Gary Smits of the Florida Times-Union for talking U.S. Open, Jags, and more with us. Our AFC North preview continued. Thank you to Ray Fittipaldo of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette for previewing the Pittsburgh Steelers. Again, Russell Wilson, Justin Fields. Certainly a very interesting dynamic in Pittsburgh. And Ray Fittipaldo is our guy in the Steel City, and we appreciate him taking time out for us tonight. My buddy Dave Campo reviewing the Jaguar offseason back in hour number 1. And thank you to Jaguar wide receiver Elijah Cooks. Had the opportunity to catch up with Elijah earlier today after Jaguar practice. Really enjoyed that conversation. And as Elijah Cooks and the rest of the Jaguars now go for about a month or so vacation, and I believe July 23rd is the date they will come back and report for training camp. We will be back tomorrow night on a Thursday, and we will do it all over again beginning at 8 o'clock. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the hacker Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Wednesday evening with us right here on Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. So for all of us here on HAD, have an absolutely terrific remainder of your Wednesday evening, and we will talk to you again tomorrow night on a Thursday beginning